Alright, this next video we're going to work on the last type of word problems where we have to set up a linear system. And these are mixture problems. I think we did kind of a discovery activity in class to kind of prove, when we mix certain solutions, we're going to have a different solution that has a different percentage for it. Let's kind of use that to help us with this video. We're just going to do the first problem. Okay, for this first problem, it's saying a 12% brine solution was mixed with a 16% brine solution to produce a 15% brine solution. So we're mixing the 12 and the 16. So the 12 and the 16, if we're mixing these together, I'm going to put this above here. I'm going to say this is the 12% solution, and I'm mixing it with the second beaker, which is the 16%. So I know if I mix them together, the new solution, it's going to have a percentage in between 12 and 16. And it does. It tells us it's going to be, when you mix them together, it's going to be 15%. Okay, then the question is saying how much of the 12% solution and how much of the 16% solution were used to produce 40 liters of the 15% solution. Okay, next number that we have is just 40 liters. Well, it's like, all right, 40 liters of what? Well, it tells us it's 40 liters of this, the 15% solution, so we're going to put 40 liters right here. Now, what we want to find, it's saying how much of the 12% solution and how much of the 16% solution do we need. So I don't know what those are, so those are the unknowns. So I'm going to put X, and I'll put L for liters, and then I'm going to say Y, and that's liters for the 16% solution. Now, before we do that, here's kind of the main thing that I wanted to go over with the discovery activity. Like, I know, guys, if I mix something that's 12% and 16% and the result is 15%, since this 15 is closer to 16 than it is for 12, that's telling me that this Y is going to be bigger than X. I'm going to have more liters of this solution. So when I draw this picture, let's put this level like right here. I'm going to put this level down here. So that kind of shows me, all right, I'm mixing less of the 12% solution and more of the 16% solution. All right, that visual really is going to help us out. Now, to get the two equations, the first one, I just use the amount that I have for each type of solution. So I use this bottom part, the liters. So when I use that, the first equation is just X plus Y equals 40. Or if I mix X liters with Y liters, it's going to equal 40 total liters. Okay, the next one is where we have to do a little bit of work. What we're going to do here is we're going to multiply these quantities for each beaker and set them equal to each other. So when I do that, this is going to be 12x, this is going to be 16y, and this is going to be 15 times 40, which we can put on our calculator. So when I do that, I'm going to have 12x plus 16y, and I'm going to go right to this. When I multiply these two, 15 times 40, I'm going to put it right now on my calculator. Let's see here, 15 times 40, that equals 600. So I'm going to make this 600. That's the hardest part right there. And usually it's getting that second equation. So the second equation, we have to multiply the percentages times the amount that we have. All right, so I have all the x's and y's lined up, but I don't have opposites. So I kind of have a choice. I could either get rid of these x's or get rid of these y's. Since this 12 is less than the 16, I'm going to get rid of the x's. So if this is 12x, I want this x to equal negative 12x. So I'm going to multiply this whole first equation by negative 12. I'll put this in red. So I'm going to distribute. So negative 12 times the x gives me negative 12x. Negative 12 times the y gives me negative 12y. Okay, and I'll put this in my calculator. Negative 12 times 40, what's that going to give us? I believe it's negative 480. I'll check my calculator just to be sure. So negative 12 times 40, yep, it's negative 480. And now I can add, because this is going to go away. So now I'm going to add the blue and these red equations. That's going to cancel. Right, that goes away. When I add this, 16 minus 12 is 4. So we have 4y. So when I add this, 600 minus 480, that's what, 120? And then when I divide by 4, 4 goes into 120 30 times. So y equals 30. Well, what is it? 30%, 30 liters. Well, if I go back to the picture, remember y, it's liters. So that's 30 liters. And look, if this is 30, it's real easy to see this has to be 10, because 10 plus this 30 is going to equal to 40. It's the same thing as taking this 30 and plugging it into here. So 10 plus 30 is 40, so the x is 10 liters. And that kind of made sense. Since, guys, remember what we said, since this 15% is closer to 16%, we said that y has to be bigger than x, and when we did the math, it turned out that that was correct. Y was 30 liters, and x was 10 liters. All right, but the big thing is, guys, draw the 3 beakers. All right, it will really help you. The visual really helps you to get the 2 equations and then to eventually use elimination.